We are live. So, welcome everyone. This is the first ever live stream for AI Coding with K. My name is Kshitij Agarwal. I'm starting a little early, just still trying to figure this out. This is my first ever YouTube live. So, if you have already joined in, or if you're joining in now, or if you're watching later, thank you so much. And Hi, let me just quickly check if things are in order, if everything is like working properly or not. Just 1 second. And we are a go, I guess. Okay, if you guys are still joining in, please welcome. I unfortunately cannot see the live chat as of now. I will figure that part out as well at in the by the time we are doing the next live. So again, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kshitij Agarwal. I am an engineering consultant focused on AI products and mobile, and I basically help startups build AI products using AI. That is my expertise. I've been in the industry for more than 19 years now, working on AI products, mobile products, working for various startups, and have award-winning apps out there in the market. My last project, which was with Envision AI, won the Best Google Play Award on the Android side and multiple Apple Viz Awards on the iOS side. So yeah, I think it's already 9. Just a quick brief intro of what we are going to do in this channel. So AI Coding with K is going to be primarily a live stream because that kind of works best in the sense I don't have this will reduce the whole production time, so I will be mostly live streaming my sessions here. And every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we are going to do these lives. These lives are going to be around 20 to 30 minutes on an average. And you're welcome to join my Discord, where I will be hosting office hours every week, where you can come and ask your questions, get your query answered, connect to other people in the industry and other people in the community, and exchange notes, exchange ideas, exchange tips and tricks. And I also have a couple of documents that I've shared on my Discord, where hopefully they will be able to help you in your hackathons, in your agentic workflows, and general day-to-day development. So I think let's start off, and yeah, let's go ahead. Let me switch to the slides. So hi. As this is a first live, and so what format that we are going to follow here on is basically I have divided the things that I want to talk about in small courses, and each course will have around 5 to 6 episodes. So I've tried to break it down into smaller chunks, and this is the first course that I want to introduce, which is the AI assisted coding foundations for junior developers. And it's going to be a 6-part course, and this is mostly going to be about how to effectively use AI without losing your engineering judgment, and while at the same time learning during this process. This is going to be an AI related course, like the name suggests. And in this AI first world, everybody if you're hiring, if you're developing, you're using AI in a day-to-day basis. So how do you use AI in a more effective manner? Anybody can use AI, but the real benefit, real advantage, real step in the game is how effectively, how best you can use AI to help you move forward and not getting stuck in like loops which are you are trying to build something, then you are using AI and it breaks something and you're stuck on why you can't you are not able to deliver. So we are going to focus on all these things basically. So going back to the course, like I mentioned, this is a 6-part course. The course is going to be like, we start with the AI workflow, and then we are going to talk about how do you turn brief, vague requests that you give to the AI into actual task briefs. And I don't know, something happened. I know Discord is sometimes. So yeah, so now we will start with the workflow, then we will talk about how do you turn requests into task briefs that you give to the AI. And the third episode is going to be about how do you read and analyze existing code using AI. And the fourth episode is going to be about how do you make changes with AI, how do you refactor code using AI, or what kind of requests that you have to give to make effective changes, effective refactors to your code without actually breaking things. Fifth episode is going to be about debugging using AI, and the last one is going to be about how do you do PR reviews with AI, pull request reviews. So this is going to be the course. And yeah, like I mentioned, episode 1, operating model, safe AI assisted coding. Episode 2 is going to be about the vague work to an AI assisted ready task brief. Episode 3 is going to be about how do you make changes. 4 is going to be about episode 3 is going to be about reading and analyzing existing code. Fourth is going to be about making changes. Fifth about debugging. Sixth about PR reviews. And we are going to do a little mini project during this course. And this project is going to be basically a small student task app where you add your task, you add due dates, you add the labels, whether it is done or not, it is overdue, stuff like that. So we're going to try and build this app during the workflow that we are going to do. So since this is like the first episode, I just wanted to do more of a brief intro in this episode. I'm not really going to show any code as of now, but really talk about what is an safe AI coding workflow, and how do you effectively use AI without wasting tokens, wasting time. So a usual beginner mistake when we are all trying to use AI is you don't really know how to ask questions or how do you frame your questions. So usually what people do is like they ask a question, a vague question. For example, I want to build a feature, and they just mention the feature in a very vague language, and then they expect that AI is going to give the code, which it will give because AI is trained to be assertive in that sense that, okay, you ask it to do something, it will do something. It's going to imagine a lot of stuff if you don't really tell it what you want it to do. It's going to make a lot of assumptions. It's going to imagine a lot of things. Hallucination is the word that we keep hearing in the AI world very regularly. And then it's going to come up with something. It gives you some code, you paste it, and you then wonder why is it not working. So the feature you say build me a feature, it gives you the code, you paste it, the feature may work, but whether it is exactly what you wanted or what the feature was going to be about, and how do you check whether what it built was actually correct or not? How do you verify everything that it was that you had intended to do, but what you actually got? So that's something that you don't really know, and that's a beginner mistake that usually happens as well. So today, after this session, what I want to is to happen is that from now on, you as a developer, you should own the task, you should own the context, and you should really know exactly why you're using AI and how you're using AI. Very specific. So AI is more of a helper for you instead of doing your work for you. So you should know exactly what you need to do. You tell AI what exactly you need done, and that's what AI is going to do for you. So that is what we are going to kind of target in today's session. Small case study here. Like I mentioned, we are going to work on a small app, and it's going to be like I mentioned, a small task-based app. It's going to be, you create a ticket. That ticket is basically a task. You attach a due date, you attach descriptions, you attach what needs to be done, and then what we are going to do is we are going to use the same scenario throughout our course in the next 5 or 6 episodes, and we are going to go through this thing in a more structured manner. So who owns what? So this is very important. So there is a human component to building anything, and then there is the AI component to building anything. So the human component is going to be the problem that you're trying to solve. What is the scope of that problem or the feature? What are the constraints under which that problem needs to live? Okay. What is the impacted sections of the project? What is the intended behavior? What is the expected outcome? How do you verify whether what you are trying to build, what is the, when I say expected outcome, you should be able to say that, okay, this is what I expect it to do, and this is something that it should not be doing. Okay. So for example, if we take the example of the task app, so if you add a due date for yesterday, it should not save that task, citing that the task reminder date should be in the future, not in the past. Okay, so that is the verification that the expected behavior is, it should only accept task due date which is in the future, not in the past. So this is what all of these things, the problem, the scope, the constraints, the expected behavior, the verification guidelines, all of this are human owned. Okay, this is what you as a developer need to do. The AI assisted side of things is basically how to summarize what you're trying to build. Okay, in terms of you have a vague request, but you try to use AI to remove that vagueness and make it more concrete. Okay, AI is, I'm not saying that you give AI the vague request and then you ask it to build something, but you give AI the vague request to help you finalize what you are trying to build. Okay, you can use AI to suggest approaches on how to solve a problem. How do you build a feature? What all things it can add or remove in order to fit the scope. Remember, the scope is something that you know. So you can use AI as an assistant, as a helper that can give you ideas of what to add, what to remove in the current scope of things, and how do you drill down the problem, make it small enough to fit your scope, make it concrete to remove all the vagueness, and then you create a small list of tasks that the AI should do for you. Okay, and you use, in all of this you're using AI to do all the steps. You're using AI to remove vagueness, you're using AI to make it keep it under your scope, and then you use AI to break it down for you and for the AI into smaller steps. Okay, you don't just build you don't give a prompt that build me a student task app. No, it's not how it works, and it might work, but it's not how you build things, A, in a professional setting, B, at a production level. If you're trying to build something at a professional production level that you want to ship to users, and C, it is not going to exactly match your vision that you have in your mind, like you are envisioning something with this product. Okay, so you have to break it down into smaller tasks. Okay, you list out the risks when you break down any problem into smaller chunks. Then you figure out, okay, this is going to work, this might not work, this might need research. So that is something that you figure out again with the help of AI, and then you generate test ideas. So by that I mean, test ideas are how do you test a feature, like in the case of the task list app, what all tests that you can add to verify what is the happy path and what is the not so happy path. I'll probably talk about this more in the later episodes, but yeah, you get some idea. You basically use AI to help you generate a task list, test list. So this is what a safe workflow looks like. Okay, you convert a vague request into a task. You convert that, you bring additional context into the problem that you're trying to solve. You convert that task list into a context. Okay, and then you create a plan. When you have proper context, you have read, you have some documentation, you have some readme files, you have some feature set PRDs that we call. You build that context for the given task. Okay, and then you create an implementation plan. Okay, and then you and when I say plan, that is where you are trying to break down the problem into smaller chunks. Now, once you have a plan, you make any changes to the plan, whether you want to add something, you want to remove something, whether everything is working fine, and then you basically verify that plan. And this is where you have to basically put in the work, where you verify whether the plan which was made is the intended work that you wanted the AI to do. Okay, so this is where you have to use your judgment as a developer, as the person who is building, that this is what I intended to build, this is the plan that AI gave me, and now I need to verify whether it is working properly or not, or rather the plan is adhering to what I had envisioned in terms of what I want to build. Okay, and then you kind of explain, if you want to make some changes, you explain what changes you want to make, you tell the AI. Okay, and there is a very specific reason to it. AI is going to work in its own assumptions unless you tell it something to do in a specific manner. So it is up to you on how you want the AI to behave. And if you want something to be changed, like in the step 4 you wanted to change something and then you verified, but you still feel that the plan is not really there, so you need to tell AI why are you changing something and what is it that you actually need. This gives AI agents, whichever agent you're using, Claude, you're using Gemini, using OpenAI, you're using open code, using some open weight models, free to use open weight models, Gemma, whatever. The idea is that the more context you give to AI of what something you're trying to achieve, the better it will be able to do what exactly you want it to do. Okay, so this is where you kind of explain to the AI what changes you are trying to make and why you are trying to make it, because that gives it more context, and then it will try to follow what you are trying to achieve. Okay, and yeah, so I think I kind of explained all of these things. The task is building a converting a vague request into a proper task. You give context, you give files, you do readmes, you give some UI what do you call it, prototypes that you have. You give it to AI and to kind of give it a context what you're trying to build. You create a plan, you verify the plan, the checks, the tests, and everything. Okay, now this is what should happen, but let's talk about what kind of happens as a junior developer, the places where you might be making mistakes or things might be going wrong. Okay, so if you, like I mentioned earlier, you have to be very, very specific with the AI, otherwise it will hallucinate, otherwise it will assume some things, and it is not going to work as you intended. Okay, so the mistakes that usually happens is that you don't give enough context, you don't give enough guidelines around what you're trying to build, and you let AI invent decisions. So it will assume something and then you don't really care for it, and you kind of go with it. Okay, you don't give enough documentation of past work, of past plans, of mock-ups, or whatever you are envisioning. You are not giving AI enough details of what you are trying to achieve. You are not really the third mistake is basically you are not reviewing the work which is being done by AI. You are not reviewing the plans, the documents which are being built by AI. And the last one is that you are not verifying the code. You're not testing it properly, you're not checking it, you're not reviewing the changes that the AI is making, and that is where things tend to get wrong. It's going to kind of get into loops and make some mistakes. So let's talk about what is a bad workflow and what is a good workflow. Okay, so a bad workflow, like I've already talked about, vague prompts, code pasting without understanding, always going with the happy path, not looking for constraints, not looking for edge cases, not looking for the negative paths that should be taken care of. And you don't really explain the edge case. So for example, the example that I gave for a task list, if you put in a reminder, the edge case is that the reminder should always be in the future, not in the past. But if you don't explain these things, AI might not really pick up these things on its own. And if you give it to a user, they end up using it wrong, then it's not really the user's mistake. It is you, who the builder, you need to know this these edge cases. So what is a safe workflow? Okay, so clarify ticket, clarify the task, give context, create a plan, check the plan, verify the code that is being written, test it properly. And for example, in an edge case, here you can check for whether the due dates are working properly or not. whether the upcoming dates or filters and everything in the task list, those things are working properly or not. So here's a small kind of a prompt example that I've given here. Like, given this task, list the workflow steps that I should follow before writing code. Okay, and then you write the task that add a due date label to study sprint task, and the label is going to be due date or upcoming or overview or done. And then you tell it to do not write code yet specifically, because now what you're trying to do is you're telling AI to ingest the problem, take in the problem, figure out a solution, not jumping into the code and actually building it immediately, but just figure out what the problem is, think about it. There are like reasoning levels. Probably I can talk about it in a future episode, and I can show you the workflow as well. So there are reasoning levels where you can control how much thinking an AI model is doing. And and this is where you actually tell it to create a plan. So you say don't write a code yet, but you say that create a plan for me, and then you work out the problem, break it down, and then create a plan. And then once the plan is ready, you actually go ahead and start the implementation. But we'll come to that later on in the next episode. So here's a small checklist that I want to go through. The first three things are what I am trying to cover in this episode, and the rest three we'll get back to in the future episodes. So, can I convert the task into a proper sentence? Can I define what the task is? Can I tell it the constraints of what not to change and what to change? Where it should there are sections of the code that it should not touch because of it could be a business logic. You are just trying to change code, and it shouldn't like be eager to change things, modify things where it shouldn't really be doing that. And in the upcoming episodes, we'll talk about the whole planning, more specific about the planning, the verification, and the review side of things. So, one thing, this episode, if I kind of have to start covering, bringing everything together, this episode is more about how I use AI to work out the problems, how it can help me figure out what I want to build in a much better manner. Okay, you can again, what are the constraints, what are the guidelines, what are the things that what is the scope of the problem, what are the things that it should not do, how quickly you want to build this feature, what other features you don't want it to touch while you are working, some of the coding guidelines or API protocols that you have in place. So these kind of things you kind of define to the AI. You use it to create a plan. In that plan, you try to break the problem into smaller phases, and then you use those phases as task lists. You verify that work, and then you give it to AI for actual output and code generation. In the next episode, we are going to talk about in more detail how do you convert a vague request into a task brief, how do you create a proper task plan, and then we will use that plan that we create in episode 3, where we will use that as an input to actually start developing something, tell the AI to actually output some code. And that's pretty much it. So I guess we have covered all the parts that we wanted to cover. So I think that's pretty much it for this episode. First episode, really new to all this. I really appreciate if you're still watching. I'm sorry if you there is no way for me to see the live chat as of now, but I'll kind of try to figure that out. And thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel. It will help me a lot. And if you want to join the Discord, you'll find the link in the description below. And we can hang out on the Discord. We can talk about whatever you are building and whatever problems you're trying to face, and we can talk about it. And I might even do a future episode on the problems you guys are facing and try to explain it live to all the audience, and I can give a shout out as well. And yeah, all the links are available in the description. So that's it. Again, thank you so much. This is AI Coding with K. My name is Kshitij Agarwal. Good night, and have a good day ahead.